Hey everybody, Goosebumps for Dummies here, legally on paper, given a birth name. Yeah, my parents predicted my channel name, crazy enough. And today I am going to be reviewing Goosebumps The Vanishing Episode 2, Sell the Basement, Part 2, which is a Part 2 to the first episode. No shit. And is also, once again, based off Sell the Basement. Continuing that story, this episode picks up right where we left off with Dr. Brewer down in the basement. So let's see what's happening with him in the recap. Dr. Brewer, or Anthony Brewer, is down in the basement at the beginning of the episode, and he has just woken up from a well-deserved nap, and his arm is now wrapped up because he wanted to wrap up the weird happenings on his arm. He had some weird bumps and weird marks on his arm, and then now some tentacles are on his arm as he unwraps them to find that, yeah, there's some tentacles crawling right out of his skin, and it's pretty fucking weird. And then a huge bump just appears right above here, right around here, and he has to cut his arm open, which bleeds black. So that ain't a good fucking sign. And there's a fucking bulb. There's a literal bulbous flower in there. Venus flytrap-esque. And, yeah, it's pretty fucking gross, and it's an amazing opening to this episode. And then you cut to the title card. We then see Frankie break up with Trey. It's a pretty simple sequence. Trey's an asshole still, and he isn't quite over it immediately. He wants to win her back. And we do see him try later, but he kind of encounters Devin, almost making out with, Frankie, so that ain't a good thing. Speaking of Devin and Cece actually go to visit Frankie right before that at the coffee shop, gets some coffee, and that's where Devin starts to flirt with Frankie some more, and Cece goes out and she encounters an old friend who is Alex, who we saw kind of tease in the first episode to be an old friend of hers. Kind of odd with each other, but they're happy. And then Alex's mom shows up. Alex is at community service right now. I'm not that bad, right? She consults him, but of course they're still a little upset with each other because her mom apparently has something to do with her being in juvie for the past 10 months. Yeah. Cut to David Schwimmer, or cut to Anthony Brewer. He is now on call with, I believe, a colleague or something, a fellow botanist, you know, and apparently they don't believe his plant is, well, a plant. They think it's animal cells, because maybe it is. It might be animal cells that infected the plant, of course, but they don't know that. He hangs up because he finds out that it's a carnivore. Yeah, carnivore cells, which isn't a good thing. That thing eats meat. He goes out to get some meat to feed the little bulbous thing, and we see Devin Googling dementia because he thinks he's having dementia due to the weird blanks in his memory throughout the past few days, because he keeps on getting attacked or seeing weird things, and then he doesn't remember it at all, or anything that just happened right after that, so really weird. So he thinks he has dementia, but Cece says otherwise, but he's still kind of convinced he does. Devin then goes outside to see Trey on his front porch, and it literally quickly evolves into a fight sequence in less than a minute. They're beating the shit out of each other because, of course, Trey is upset that Devin is trying to steal his girl, even though they had literally just broken up. And he did just see them almost kiss, Devin and Frankie. And speaking of Frankie, she breaks up the fight before anyone can get seriously hurt, and Trey retreats to his house across the street. And Devin just stays and talks to her a bit. And Frankie is, you know, understandably upset, and she is clearly not interested in either of them at the time. She is, well, upset as hell. Anthony Brewer returns home and sees, once again, Trey's car in his driveway. This is a recurring thing that has happened about 2 times now until this point. Now it's third, where Trey's car is in Anthony's driveway, and it's happened many times before the show even started, so it's been an ongoing issue. And he casually just destroys his car window while Trey is standing right on his own front porch across the street. And understandably, he's a little pissed, but he gets the message. Don't park your fucking car in my driveway. Yeah, that was actually one of the famous trailer shots, so it was a pretty good scene too. Anthony then brings his new sound supplies inside, and it's actually dead rats. I guess you can buy dead rats for food. For animals like snakes or something at the pet store, so that's interesting. And he feeds it to the little bulbous. And let's just say it kind of fucking likes them, which is concerning. It is, in fact, a carnivorous plant, or whatever the hell it is. We don't know if it's even plant, or if it's really some sort of mold or whatever. We'll find out later in the show, but for now, he stuffs it into a freezer out of concern because, well, it fucking ate a rat. A dead rat, nonetheless. But it ate something that was once alive and had meat in it and blood. That's not fucking good. He goes to get more meat, and then Devin invites CJ over because Devin's like, I kind of will go down in the sewer because that's where I found myself and I want to know what the hell happens. And so they do at that night. CJ follows him down in the sewer to kind of help him out. He's mostly for comedic relief down there, but it's good nonetheless. And he finds the remains of vines and poop water. Deadass. He just right in the shit water. Hashtag hopefully not relatable, and pulls up vines, probably covered in fecal matter. Nonetheless, he finds some vines, which were cut off with the sewer gate when he defeated the Planar Knight. And yeah, CJ's like, fuck that, I'm out of here, never bring me in the sewer again, but Devin's pretty happy with his findings. We then see that during this whole sewer visit, Trey was actually breaking into the basement of the Brewer house. And Frankie knows about this. She caught him kind of doing it, but she doesn't really intervene because she wants him to learn, and she's just not wanting to get in on this bullshit, this stupid feud. And she kind of does have to when she realizes something might have gone wrong. Trey hasn't left the basement in a while, and it's gone awfully quiet down there as she stands up the side. Because Trey actually may or may not got caught by something in the act of destroying everything down there. Frankie goes down there to see what the hell happened, and she encounters a disgusting and horridly grotesque flesh monster. It's just literal flesh. It's gore. We just get literal gore in this show. And I fucking love that. But yeah, this disgusting, blood, flesh-covered monster grabs Frankie and leaves the house with her, only to discover Devin on the front porch. I don't know who opened the door first, but either way, they came to one another at the front door. That sounded gross. He beats the shit out of Devin, this monster version of something, and it holds Frankie as it walks down the street, you know, and Devin slowly regains consciousness. And eventually, we find out what this monster is actually Trey when it brings her to the mechanic shop that he actually works at. I didn't bring it up because it was not a big detail, but he does work there. He convinces her that it is Trey inside of this monster, which, yes, it is. That is a thing in the show. Trey turned into a fucking flesh monster. And he's not in horrible agony, but he doesn't seem to like it. He asks her to scrape the fucking gunk off him. Pretty gross. And in the act of doing so, Devin shows up because the garage is open. And he tries to fight the monster, only Trey gets upset and, you know, he kind of attacks him. You know, trying to defend his girl. You know, he doesn't want his girl to be taken by this dude that he does not like. And, of course, because he's just trying to do self-defense. But either way, Trey attacks Devin. And in the end, after a nice fight sequence, Trey gets crushed to death by a car. Funny enough. Because the next episode is the haunted car? Ooh, I wonder. And after this, after they realize they fucking killed Trey, something may or may not happen to the car. That may or may not make it a little livelier. Also, during all of this fighting, Dr. Brewer returned home to find his lab completely destroyed. So now he's aware of it. Trey has broken into his lab, and his research has escaped. So that motherfucker in the freezer is no longer there, because that is now the very, very, very dead Trey. CC also makes a funny joke where she walks downstairs and kind of stops. But yeah, that's the end of the episode, and it was an interesting one, I'll say that. I did not expect to see a flesh monster so early in the show. I knew it was coming, but what do I think of this episode at the end of the day? Banger. I say banger! This episode was pretty darn good. Straight off the bat, the flesh being. Whatever this thing is supposed to be based off, you can call it Keith, you can call it Mr. Fleshman from Invasion of the Body Squeezers, you can call it whatever the fuck you want. It's a monster conceived of flesh and whatever this goop is that's been haunting the show. It is a disgusting monster, and I love the reveal of it, how it walks out of the shadows, and how it's actually Trey underneath. And you fucking killed a kid. You basically killed Trey. And you also killed this disgusting monster. I like how it also transitions into a haunted car very nicely. Because the goop of the monster, it transfers into the car. Very fucking cool. The whole episode is quite a nice watch. I think the acting is really good. I like how it really kicks things into gear. I like the mystery of the plant and what the hell it's all about. I like the opening sequence. It is very nice, and there's some nice scenes in here. There's a nice fight scene, and I think the drama is handled really well here. And the soundtrack isn't too jarring, unlike episode 1. Overall, I think this is a vast improvement upon the first episode, though I didn't think that one was very bad. I still think it was pretty good-ish. This one was way better, but not amazing. This episode lacked much going on in the first half, and honestly, of course, the soundtrack's still, there. I don't think it's a perfect soundtrack. And overall, it was just not like 10 out of 10 experience, but it was still really good, I will admit. I really like this episode. It might deter later in score, go down, but as of now, I think I am safely going to put it at a flat 9 out of 10. It is not amazing, and there are some small things that aren't amazing about this episode. But overall, I think this one jumbled the drama and the horror very nicely, and there was a nice blend of each. It didn't feel like one had more than the other, or too much more than you'd like. I think there was definitely a bit more horror in this episode. And I'm glad that we got this disgusting monster. That thing was fucking cool, and there were some great sequences. And also, I think there's some CGI that could be better, slightly. Because I heard complaints about CGI about one thing. That's in episode 5, and even that's, good. I don't care. It could have been slightly better, but of course, I get it. This is a TV show. It's not movie quality. But yeah, overall, 9 out of 10. Really good episode. And once again, I think it jumbled the plots really well. And that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode review, and I'll see you guys in the next one with episode 3, The Haunted Car. Bye.